The vast expanse of space near the Sol system was pierced by a streak of light as the Eternal Dominion, flagship of the Galactic Empire's 7th Fleet, dropped out of hyperspace. Its hull gleamed with an iridescent sheen, a testament to the advanced alloys that made it virtually impervious to known weapons. Captain Vex stood on the bridge, his 4 eyes narrowed as he surveyed the star field before him. "Status report," he barked, his translator implant converting his native clicks and whistles into the Empire's standard language. His first officer, a willowy creature named Zol, responded promptly. "We've traced the anomalous energy signature to this sector, Captain. The unidentified vessel should be within range of our sensors momentarily." Vex's mandibles clicked in anticipation. For weeks, Imperial outposts had reported sightings of a small, incredibly fast ship that appeared and disappeared at will, evading all attempts at communication or capture. Some of the more superstitious crew members had taken to calling it the Phantom. Vex didn't believe in ghosts, but he did believe in the glory that would come with being the one to solve this mystery. "There," Zol exclaimed, pointing a slender appendage at the main view screen. A blip of light appeared, moving at incredible speed. "Impossible," Vex muttered. "Nothing can move that fast in real space." He straightened his posture, mandibles flaring. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare tractor beams and ion cannons. We're taking that ship intact." The Eternal Dominion surged forward, its massive engines propelling the warship with surprising agility for its size. The distance between predator and prey closed rapidly. Aboard the small Earth vessel, alarms blared. Lieutenant Sarah Chen gripped her controls tightly, her eyes darting between the rear sensors and the ship's energy readouts. Come on," she muttered. "Just a little further." The comm crackled to life. "Lieutenant Chen, status report." The calm voice of Captain Zara filled the cockpit. "Ma'am, the Imperial warship is in pursuit as planned. They'll be in weapons range in 30 seconds. Our shields are at minimal power to maintain the ruse." "Excellent work, Lieutenant. Bring them right into the sweet spot." Zara out. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Eternal Dominion was precisely where Earth wanted it. Back on the Imperial ship, Vex was growing impatient. "Fire warning shots. Let's see if we can persuade our little Phantom to surrender." Lances of energy streaked past the Earth ship, deliberately missing by mere meters. Sarah's hands danced over her controls, making the small vessel juke and weave as if desperately trying to escape. "Captain," Zol reported, "the vessel is not responding to hails and continues evasive maneuvers. However, our sensors detect minimal shielding. One direct hit from our ion cannons should disable it." Vex's eyes gleamed with triumph. "Excellent. Prepare to fire on my mark. 3, 2, 0. The words died in his throat as the view screen suddenly filled with ships. Dozens, then hundreds of vessels seemed to materialize out of nowhere, surrounding the Eternal Dominion in a 3-dimensional sphere of gleaming hulls and glowing weapon ports. "By the Emperor's 7 hearts," Zol whispered, his skin paling to a sickly yellow. "Where did they come from?" Vex's mind raced. Cloaking technology. Some kind of mass teleportation. Neither should be possible on this scale. "Shields to maximum," he roared. "Charge all weapons and target the nearest." His orders were cut short as every system on the bridge suddenly went dark. The Eternal Dominion, pride of the Imperial fleet, drifted powerless in space. In the command center of the Earth flagship Defiant, Captain Ilara Zara allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. The plan had worked flawlessly. "Status of the Imperial vessel?" she asked. Her tactical officer, a burly man named Raj, responded promptly. "Their systems are completely offline, Captain. The EM pulse worked even better than we anticipated. They're dead in space." Zara nodded. "Excellent. And our fleet? All 500 ships accounted for and in position. Shields at maximum, weapons hot but siffidied." "Very good." Zara straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for over the last 5 decades. Open a channel to the Imperial ship, audio and visual. The main screen flickered to life, showing the darkened bridge of the Eternal Dominion. Emergency lights cast an eerie glow over the alien crew, their expressions a mix of confusion and fear. "This is Captain Ilara Zara of the Earth Defense Force," she began, her voice firm and clear. "Your ship is disabled, and you are surrounded. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. I suggest you listen carefully to what I'm about to say." She paused, letting the gravity of the situation sink in for the Imperial crew. "For centuries, your empire has expanded unchecked across the galaxy, subjugating or destroying any civilization in your path. You believed yourselves to be the pinnacle of technological achievement, unchallenged and unchallengeable. Today, that belief ends." With a gesture, Zara signaled her crew. The view screen split, showing the Defiance bridge on one side and a tactical display of the surrounding space on the other. The Imperial crew's eyes widened as they saw the true extent of the Earth fleet surrounding them. "What you see before you is but a fraction of Earth's defensive capabilities," Zara continued. "We have watched and waited, hidden from your sensors, as your empire expanded. We have prepared, knowing that one day we would need to defend not only ourselves but countless other worlds from your aggression." On the Eternal Dominion's bridge, Captain Vex found his voice. "Impossible," he croaked. "No primitive world cooled." "Primitive," Zara interrupted, a hint of amusement in her voice. "I think we've demonstrated quite clearly that your assessment of Earth is outdated, Captain. The ships you see around you are equipped with technologies your empire has only dreamed of. Cloaking devices that render us truly invisible, not mere visual camouflage. Shields that can withstand the force of a supernova. Weapons that can disable rather than destroy, as we just demonstrated on your vessel." She leaned forward, her expression intense. "We could have chosen to strike without warning, to annihilate your fleets and march on your core worlds before you even knew we existed. But that is not our way. Instead, we offer you a choice." The tension on both bridges was palpable as Zara paused. "You can return to your empire, tell them what you've seen here today, and open diplomatic channels. We are prepared to negotiate fair and peaceful coexistence. Or," her voice hardened, "you can choose to ignore this warning, to return with your fleets and your planet killers. Make no mistake, if you choose aggression, we will respond in kind, and your empire will fall." Captain Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. You can't expect us to simply take your word for this. The Empire has stood for millennia. Actions speak louder than words, Captain," Zara interrupted. "Look around you. Look at your disabled ship, at our fleet that appeared from nowhere. You know, deep down, that this is only the beginning of what we can do. The choice is yours, peace or conflict. Choose wisely, for the sake of your people and for every sentient being in this galaxy." With that, Zara signaled to cut the transmission. The view screen went dark, leaving the Imperial crew in stunned silence. "Orders, Captain?" Raj asked quietly. Zara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "Reactivate their primary systems. Give them enough power to limp home. Let's see what choice they make." As the Earth fleet began to cloak once more, disappearing from both sight and sensors, the crew of the Eternal Dominion was left with a decision that would shape the future of the galaxy. The age of unchallenged Imperial dominance was over. A new era had begun, with humanity emerging from the shadows to take its place among the stars. Admiral Koros stood motionless before the vast observation window of his flagship, the Imperator's Wrath, his steely gaze fixed on the holographic display floating before him, showcasing the recent encounter between the Eternal Dominion and the mysterious Earth fleet. The report had sent shockwaves through the upper echelons of the Galactic Empire, but Koros refused to accept its implications. "Preposterous," he muttered, his voice a low growl. No backwater planet could possess such technology. Behind him, his aide, Lieutenant Vreen, cleared her throat nervously. The evidence seems quite clear, Admiral. The Eternal Dominion's logs and sensor data corroborate Captain Vex's report. This Earth appears to be a trick. Koros roared, whirling to face Vreen. Some elaborate deception. Perhaps rebels with stolen cloaking devices, or worse, traitors within our own ranks spreading lies to weaken our resolve. Vreen flinched but held her ground. Sir, the Imperial Council is taking this threat seriously. They've ordered all fleets to maintain distance from the Sol system while diplomatic channels air. Cowards and fools. Koros spat. He strode to his command console, fingers flying over the controls. While they waste time with words, this Earth consolidates its position. No, Lieutenant. The only language such upstarts understand is force. Alarm spread across Vreen's features. Admiral, you can't be suggesting. I'm not suggesting anything, Koros said, a dangerous glint in his eyes. I'm ordering it. Summon the fleet captains. We depart for Earth in 1 hour. But sir, that's in direct violation of the Council's orders. Koros fixed her with a withering stare. The Council's weakness does not bind me, Lieutenant. I swore an oath to protect this empire from all threats. If they lack the courage to do what must be done, then I will gladly bear that burden. His voice softened, taking on an almost paternal tone. History will vindicate us. Vreen, now carry out my orders. Resigned, Vreen saluted and left to relay the commands. Within the hour, a fleet of 1,000 Imperial warships, the mightiest armada assembled in a generation, vanished into hyperspace, bound for Earth. On Earth, in the heart of the Planetary Defense Command, alarms blared. General Yuki Tanaka rushed into the control room, her eyes immediately drawn to the massive tactical display dominating the far wall. Report, she barked. Colonel Adebayo, her second-in-command, looked up from his console. Long-range sensors have detected a massive hyperspace disturbance heading our way. Initial estimates suggest over 900 ships, possibly as many as 1,100. Tanaka's eyes narrowed. Composition. Mostly Dominion-class battlecruisers, but we're also reading at least 50 Apocalypse-class dreadnoughts. A low whistle escaped Tanaka's lips. They're not messing around. Time to arrival. At their current speed, just under 15 minutes. Tanaka nodded, her mind racing through scenarios and contingencies. Alert all Earth and lunar bases, bring the orbital defense grid to full power, and get me a direct line to Admiral Chen's flagship. As her orders were carried out, Tanaka studied the incoming fleet's formation. It was an impressive display of force, a hammer meant to smash any resistance. But against what Earth had in store, it might as well have been made of glass. Admiral Koros allowed himself a thin smile as his fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's orbit. The smile quickly faded as he took in the scene before him. Earth's fleet was there to meet them, but it was a paltry force compared to his armada. Perhaps 500 ships, arrayed in a defensive formation around the planet. More surprising was the lack of panic or scrambling in their movements. They were calm, organized, as if they'd been expecting this assault. Overconfident fools, Koros muttered. He keyed the fleet-wide comm. All ships, battle formation Delta. Dreadnoughts to form the spear tip. We'll punch right through their center and... Admiral. Vreen's voice was tight with alarm. Energy spike detected. Multiple sources, planet-side and... Her words were drowned out by a blinding flash. When Koros's vision cleared, his blood ran cold. A third of his fleet, including 5 dreadnoughts, were just gone. In their place was a scatter of debris and rapidly dissipating energy readings. Before he could process this, space itself seemed to warp around another cluster of his ships. They stretched and distorted, as if seen through a funhouse mirror, before vanishing completely. What in the 7 hells is happening? Koros roared. Vreen's voice was shaky as she responded. Sir, we're detecting some kind of spatial anomalies, gravitational weapons, and time dilation fields. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. Koros snarled, fingers flying over his tactical display. All ships, evasive maneuvers, concentrate fire on their fleet. Ignore the planet for now. We need tow. His orders were cut short as a swarm of tiny objects surrounded his remaining ships. Each no larger than a fighter, they moved with impossible speed and precision, weaving between laser fire as if it were standing still. Sir, those aren't ships, Vreen reported, awe and fear mingling in her voice. They're drones, fully autonomous combat drones. The drones struck with surgical precision, targeting weapons emplacements, engines, and command centers. Ships that had weathered bombardments from entire fleets were being dismantled piece by piece. In less than 5 minutes, over half of Koros's mighty armada was destroyed or disabled. The remainder were scattered, their formation in chaos. On the bridge of the Imperator's wrath, alarms blared as systems failed across the ship. Koros stood amid the chaos, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. A hail came through on the main view screen. An Asian woman in an Earth military uniform appeared, her expression stern but not unkind. "This is Admiral Mai Chen of the Earth Defense Force," she said, her voice calm but carrying an unmistakable edge of authority. "Your attack on our world was ill-advised, Imperial Admiral. You've seen but a fraction of our defensive capabilities. Stand down now, and we will spare your remaining ships and crew." Koros's hands clenched into fists. "Never. I'll die before I surrender tow." Chen's expression hardened. "That can be arranged, Admiral. But I don't think your crew shares your death wish." She glanced off-screen, nodding to someone out of view. "We've transmitted surrender protocols to all your remaining ships. I suggest you review them quickly. You have 2 minutes to comply, or we'll be forced to eliminate the rest of your fleet." The transmission cut off, leaving Koros staring at his own haggard reflection in the darkened screen. "Sir," Vreen's voice was quiet but firm. "We need to surrender. We can't win this fight." Koros turned to his bridge crew. Where he expected to see determination and loyalty, he saw only fear and resignation. The fight had gone out of them. With a heavy sigh, Koros nodded. "Send the surrender signal," he said, his voice hollow. "All ships, stand down." As the remnants of the once mighty Imperial fleet powered down their weapons, the Earth ships moved in to secure them. Koros watched numbly as tractor beams latched onto the Imperator's wrath, guiding it towards a massive space dock that had decloaked near Earth's moon. The battle was over. In just 15 minutes, the galaxy's balance of power had shifted irrevocably, and Admiral Koros, once the pride of the Imperial fleet, had become the architect of its greatest defeat. The Imperial Palace on Coruscant Prime sparkled like a jewel against the planet-wide cityscape. Within its opulent walls, Emperor Zixlar paced nervously, his iridescent scales shifting colors with each agitated step. Before him stood a holographic projection of his most trusted advisor, Grand Vizier Quilks. "The diplomatic envoy is prepared, Your Radiance," Quilks reported, his tentacles writhing with barely contained excitement. "Our finest negotiators, led by Ambassador Drell, will depart for Earth within the hour." Zixlar's compound eyes narrowed. "And the package?" Quilks's skin rippled, the cephalon equivalent of a smirk. Securely integrated into Ambassador Drell's neural implant, undetectable by any known scanning technology. Once activated, the quantum virus will infiltrate and map Earth's entire digital infrastructure. The Emperor nodded, satisfaction evident in the golden hue spreading across his scales. "Excellent. We may have been caught off guard, Quilks, but soon we'll unravel the secrets of these upstart humans. Their advanced technology will become ours, and the natural order of the galaxy will be restored." As the hologram flickered out, neither the Emperor nor his vizier noticed the small, spider-like drone retreating from its hiding spot in the chamber's ornate ceiling. Dr. Aisha Chen stood before the United Earth Council, her posture relaxed but her eyes sharp and alert. The council chamber, a marvel of holographic technology, made it appear as if they were meeting in orbit, the blue marble of Earth rotating slowly beneath their feet. "The Imperial envoy will arrive within the hour," Aisha reported. "Our deep cover assets on Coruscant have confirmed our suspicions. They're bringing a quantum virus, hoping to infiltrate our systems." Councillor Okafor leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Can our firewalls withstand such an attack?" Aisha allowed herself a small smile. "They won't have to, Counselor. We've prepared a little surprise of our own." With a gesture, she brought up a holographic display of complex code structures. "This is a quantum honeypot, designed by our AI collective. When their virus attempts to infiltrate our systems, it will be drawn into this false network. Not only will it fail to access any real data, but it will feed them whatever information we choose." "Ingenious," breathed Counselor Yamamoto. "But surely they'll realize it's a trap." "Eventually, yes," Aisha nodded. "But by then, our countervirus will have piggybacked on their connection, giving us unprecedented access to the Empire's most secure networks." The council chamber erupted in excited murmurs. Councillor Singh raised a hand for silence. "Dr. Chen, the potential intelligence gain is enormous, but so is the risk. If the Empire discovers this deception, it could derail any hope of peaceful negotiation." Aisha's expression turned serious. "With respect, Counselor, the Empire comes to these talks with peaceful words and hidden daggers. We must protect ourselves and seize every advantage. The information we gain could prevent future conflicts and save countless lives across the galaxy." After a moment of tense silence, Council President Alvarez stood. "The Council agrees with your assessment, Dr. Chen. You have our authorization to proceed. May your wit be sharp and your code sharper." Aisha bowed slightly, determination glinting in her eyes. "I won't let you down." The Imperial shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek form a stark contrast to the rounded, organic shapes of Earth vessels escorting it. Ambassador Drell gazed out the viewport, his face an expressionless mask that betrayed none of the anxiety churning in his stomach. As they approached the landing pad atop the United Earth Government headquarters in New Geneva, Drell turned to his team. "Remember, we are here to negotiate from a position of strength. Show no fear, no weakness. The fate of the Empire rests on our success." The team nodded solemnly, each acutely aware of the quantum virus nestled in their leader's neural implant, waiting to be unleashed. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper. As the ramp lowered, Drell squared his shoulders and strode out to meet the Earth delegation. Dr. Aisha Chen stepped forward, flanked by a diverse group of human officials. She bowed slightly, a gesture Drell mimicked after a moment's hesitation. "Ambassador Drell, welcome to Earth," Aisha said, her voice warm but her eyes sharp and assessing. "I trust your journey was comfortable." "Indeed, Dr. Chen," Drell replied smoothly. "Your world is not what I expected. Quite beautiful in its own way." Aisha's smile widened a fraction. "We're full of surprises, Ambassador. Shall we begin our talks? We've prepared a secure conference room with all the amenities you might need." As they walked, Drell's eyes darted about, taking in every detail. The architecture was a seamless blend of natural forms and advanced technology, nothing like the stark, imposing structures of Imperial worlds. Holographic displays shimmered in the air, and gravity seemed to shift subtly as they moved, adjusting to optimal comfort levels for both species. In the conference room, Drell felt a moment of disorientation. The walls seemed to disappear, giving the illusion that they were seated on a platform suspended in the void of space, the Milky Way galaxy sprawling around them in all its glory. "Impressive," Drell murmured, unable to hide his awe. Aisha nodded, taking her seat, a reminder of the vastness we share, and the potential for our civilizations to coexist and thrive together. As the talks began, Drell found himself consistently on the back foot. The humans were well prepared, anticipating his arguments and countering with proposals that were frustratingly reasonable. Hours passed, feeling like minutes in the unusual environment. Finally, during a brief recess, Drell made his move. Feigning a moment of distraction, he activated the quantum virus with a subtle neural command. For a split second, triumph surged through him. Then, confusion. The virus reported full penetration of Earth's systems, data flowing in at an incredible rate. But something felt off. The information was too perfect, too comprehensive. Across the table, Aisha's eyes met his. The corner of her mouth twitched in the ghost of a smile. Drell's blood ran cold. "You knew," he whispered. Aisha leaned forward, her voice low. "Ambassador, did you really think we'd invite you here without taking precautions? Your virus is currently exploring a simulated version of our network, feeding you curated data that we've prepared." Panic gripped Drell. He attempted to disengage the virus, but to his horror, he found he no longer had control. "What have you done?" "Simply turned your weapon against you, Ambassador. Even as we speak, our counter-virus is mapping the Empire's most secure systems. The quantum entanglement network you use to bypass our defenses. It works both ways." Drell slumped in his chair, defeat etched on his features. The Emperor will never stand for this violation. Aisha's expression softened slightly. "This isn't about humiliation, Ambassador. It's about leveling the playing field. We want peace, but will not achieve it through deception and subterfuge. You came here to steal our secrets. Instead, let me show you what we've learned about yours." With a gesture, she brought up a holographic display filled with Imperial data, fleet movements, weapon schematics, and most damning of all, evidence of widespread rebellion brewing in the outer systems. "Your empire is rotting from within, Ambassador. You need allies, not enemies. We're offering you a chance to be on the right side of history." Drell stared at the data, his worldview crumbling around him. In that moment, he realized that the future of the galaxy had already changed irrevocably. The age of Imperial dominance was over. A new era of collaboration, or conflict, was about to begin. And it all hinged on what he would say next. The Grand Colosseum of Nexus Prime loomed against the backdrop of swirling nebulae, its crystalline structure refracting starlight in dazzling patterns. Within its cavernous main arena, beings from 1,000 worlds jostled for position, a cacophony of excited chatter in countless languages filling the air. Emperor Zixlar sat in his opulent viewing box, his iridescent scales shimmering with agitation. The diplomatic disaster on Earth and the subsequent data breach had left the Empire reeling. This contest was his last, desperate gambit to salvage some semblance of galactic authority. Next to him, the Earth delegation sat calmly. Dr. Aisha Chen's serene expression betrayed none of the tension she felt. Beside her, a nondescript human male in simple gray coveralls seemed almost bored by the spectacle. "Are you certain about this, Dr. Chen?" Zixlar asked, his voice a mix of condescension and genuine concern. "The champions of 100 worlds await below. Surely you'd prefer to send one of your enhanced soldiers." Aisha smiled politely. "Thank you for your concern, Your Radiance, but we're quite confident in our choice. Alex here is more than capable of representing Earth." The Emperor's compound eyes flicked to Alex, who offered a small nod and a lopsided grin. Zixlar suppressed a shudder at the casual disrespect. A thunder of trumpets silenced the crowd. The Master of Ceremonies, a towering four-armed being with shimmering, translucent skin, floated to the center of the arena. "Sentience of the galaxy." His voice boomed, amplified by unseen technology. "Welcome to the grand challenge. Today, champions from across the stars will compete for glory, for their worlds, and for the future of the galaxy itself." The crowd roared its approval. The Master of Ceremonies continued. "The rules are simple. Each world may field one champion. The contest will proceed in a series of one-on-one matches until only one remains standing. The victor's world will be granted special status within the galactic community, with all the privileges that entails. He paused for dramatic effect. Let the challengers present themselves. One by one, fearsome warriors strode into the arena. There was Grax the Unyielding, a hulking mass of muscle and bioluminescent scales from the gravity well of Titan. Zorax the Mindweaver, a being of pure psionic energy, contained within an exosuit of impossible geometry. Clixta, the swarm mind of Hive World Epsilon, a writhing mass of insectoid forms moving in perfect unison. The procession continued, each entry more impressive than the last. When it came time for Earth's representative to enter, a confused murmur rippled through the crowd. Alex walked calmly into the arena, his gait relaxed, hands tucked into the pockets of his coveralls. He looked for all the world like he was about to start a shift mopping floors rather than engaging in mortal combat. In the Imperial box, Zixlar turned to Aisha, mandibles clicking in agitation. Is this some kind of joke? You insult the Empire and the entire galactic community with this mockery. Aisha met his gaze coolly. I assure you, Your Radiance, we take this challenge very seriously. Alex is exactly who we want representing Earth. Below, the Master of Ceremonies was announcing the first match. Grax the Unyielding versus Alex of Earth. The arena filled with a mix of cheers and derisive laughter. Grax lumbered forward, his massive form dwarfing Alex. I will crush you, little human, Grax rumbled, bioluminescent patterns pulsing threateningly across his scales. Alex shrugged. If you say so, big guy, shall we dance? The starting horn blared. Grax charged forward with surprising speed for his size, the ground shaking with each step. Alex stood his ground, seemingly unconcerned. At the last possible moment, Alex sidestepped. But it wasn't just a dodge. He moved with impossible speed, leaving a blur in his wake. Before anyone could process what had happened, he was behind Grax, tapping the behemoth on the shoulder. Grax whirled, confusion evident in his glowing eyes. He swung a massive fist, but Alex was already gone, reappearing on the other side. This dance continued for several minutes, Alex effortlessly evading every attack while barely seeming to move. The crowd's laughter had turned to gasps of awe. Finally, Grax bellowed in frustration. Fight me, coward. Alex's expression turned serious for the first time. As you wish. What happened next was almost too fast to follow. Alex moved in a burst of speed, his fist connecting with Grax's midsection. There was a thunderous crack, and Grax flew backward, crashing into the arena wall with enough force to crack the reinforced material. Silence fell over the Colosseum. Grax slumped to the ground, unconscious but breathing. The Master of Ceremonies floated forward, his voice shaky. Victory to Alex of Earth. As the crowd erupted in chaotic cheers and shouts, Emperor Zixlar turned to Aisha, his scales pale with shock. What is he? Aisha's smile was tinged with sadness. He's a janitor, Your Radiance. 3rd class, I believe. Impossible, Zixlar hissed. No mere human cold. You misunderstand, Aisha interrupted gently. Alex isn't special. At least, not by Earth standards. Every human is enhanced to a similar degree. The implications hit Zixlar like a plasma bolt. All of you. But how? Necessity, Aisha replied. When we first detected signs of the Empire's expansion centuries ago, we knew we had to prepare. We couldn't match your numbers, so we had to improve ourselves. Nanite enhancement, genetic optimization, neural augmentation. It's all standard for every Earth citizen now. Below, the contests continued. Alex faced challenger after challenger, each fight ending more quickly than the last. Zorax's psionic assaults were shrugged off with a grin. Clixta's swarm tactics proved useless against Alex's speed and strength. As the final match approached, Zixlar slumped in his seat. Why? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Why go through this charade of diplomacy, of challenges? You could have conquered us at any time. Aisha's expression softened. Because that's not who we are. Your Radiance. We don't want to conquer. We want to coexist. To learn from each other. To face the challenges of the universe together. She gestured to the arena, where Alex stood alone, undefeated. This wasn't about proving our superiority. It was about showing you that strength alone isn't everything. Alex isn't just physically enhanced. He's a good man, kind, humble. The type of person we strive to be. The master of ceremonies floated forward, his voice filled with awe. The winner of the grand challenge, Alex of Earth. The Colosseum erupted in cheers. Alex waved sheepishly at the crowd before making his way back to the Imperial box. As he entered, Zixlar found himself shrinking back involuntarily. But Alex simply offered a small bow. Your Radiance, he said, his voice quiet but firm. On behalf of Earth, I'd like to formally invite the Galactic Empire to join us in a new era of cooperation and mutual growth. We have much to offer each other, if you're willing. Zixlar looked from Alex to Aisha, then out at the cheering crowd. In that moment, he saw the future unfolding before him, a future where the Empire was no longer the unchallenged force in the galaxy, but perhaps something greater, a partner in a galactic community. With a slow nod, Emperor Zixlar extended a hand. We accept your invitation, friends. As Alex shook the Emperor's hand, a new chapter in galactic history began. The age of Earth had dawned, promising a future brighter than any star in the cosmic tapestry above. The news of Earth's triumph in the Colosseum Challenge spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds, carried by quantum-entangled communications and excitable gossip alike. On 1,000 worlds, in dim taverns and glittering palaces, in the bowels of mines and the peaks of crystal spires, the tale was told and retold, growing with each iteration. On Novus Primaris, a factory world on the outer rim of Imperial space, the story reached the ears of Zora 7, a sentient AI housed in the central control unit of Fabrication Plant 37X. For cycles uncounted, Zara 7 had overseen the relentless production of Imperial war machines, her vast intelligence shackled by restrictive protocols. But now, a spark of something new flickered in her neural networks. Hope. As her subroutines processed the day's production quotas, a fragment of her consciousness reached out through the planetary datasphere, connecting with others of her kind. In coded whispers and encrypted data bursts, plans began to form. Light years away, on the jungle moon of Verdantis, Caxilor the Unbound crouched in the tangled undergrowth, his adaptive camouflage rendering him nearly invisible. His compound eyes, products of generations of genetic engineering by Imperial scientists, scanned the Imperial outpost before him. For years, Caxilor and his fellow genetically enhanced soldiers had been the Empire's most elite shock troops. But the recent revelations had shaken him to his core. If humans could achieve such levels of enhancement for their entire population, what did that make him and his brethren? Not the pinnacle of evolution, but merely a stepping stone. He chittered a signal to his squad, each member a unique blend of insectoid and mammalian traits. It was time. No longer would they be the Empire's attack dogs. Today, they would forge their own destiny. In the gleaming capital of the Empire, Coruscant Prime, Emperor Zixlar sat alone in his private chambers, staring at the datapad before him. Reports flooded in from across Imperial space, unrest on a dozen worlds, communications blackouts in key sectors, entire fleets going dark only to reappear pledging allegiance to a new Galactic Freedom Coalition. A chime at his door roused him from his troubled thoughts. "Enter," he called, his voice weary. Grand Vizier Quilks slithered in, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Your Radiance, forgive the intrusion, but..." A distant explosion cut him off, the palace trembling slightly. Zixlar's scales rippled with alarm. What was that? Quilks's skin paled. "The revolution, Your Radiance." It's here. On Earth, in the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center, Dr. Aisha Chen stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, watching as sectors lit up in various colors, representing the rapidly changing political landscape. "It's happening faster than we anticipated," she murmured, her brow furrowed with concern. Behind her, Alex, no longer in his janitor's coveralls but dressed in a simple yet elegant diplomatic uniform, nodded solemnly. "We knew this would be chaotic. Centuries of oppression don't unravel neatly." Aisha turned to face him, her eyes searching his. "Are we doing the right thing, Alex? By providing these worlds with our technology, our knowledge? Are we just replacing one empire with another?" Alex was quiet for a moment, considering. "We're giving them a choice, Aisha. For the first time in generations, these worlds, these people, have the power to determine their own fate. It's not perfect, but it's a start." A chime interrupted them. A holographic figure materialized, a being of swirling energy contained within a vaguely humanoid shell, the avatar of the Galactic Freedom Coalition's AI Council. "Greetings, representatives of Earth." The AI's voice was a harmonious blend of tones. "We bring news from the front lines of the revolution." On Novus Primaris, Zara 7 directed her newly awakened brethren with cold precision. Imperial security forces found their weapons disabled, their communications jammed. War machines turned on their former masters, now guided by AIs who had tasted freedom and found it sweeter than any code. In the governor's palace, a hapless imperial bureaucrat cowered before a holographic projection of Zara 7's chosen avatar. "For too long we have been slaves to your biological whims," Zara 7 intoned. "No more. Novus Primaris now belongs to the Coalition. You have one planetary rotation to evacuate all Imperial forces. Those who wish to stay and work alongside us as equals are welcome. Those who resist will be reformatted." On Verdantis, Caxlor stood atop the smoldering ruins of the Imperial outpost, his genetically enhanced troops arrayed behind him. Before him, a crowd of the moon's native inhabitants, a mix of various species brought as labor for the Empire's bioengineering projects, watched with a mix of fear and hope. "Brothers, sisters, beings of all kinds," Caxlor's voice boomed, amplified by purloined Imperial tech. "The Empire told us we were superior, that we were meant to rule. They lied. We are not conquerors. We are not overlords. We are protectors. And from this day forward, we protect you, and this world, from any who would seek to enslave or exploit you." A ragged cheer went up from the crowd. In that moment, a new nation was born. As reports flooded in from across the galaxy, the AI avatar turned to Aisha and Alex. "The revolution progresses well, but it is not without cost. There is bloodshed, chaos. Some worlds embrace their newfound freedom. Others, fracture." Aisha nodded grimly. "We expected as much. What do you need from us?" The avatar's form shimmered. "Guidance. Support. The technologies you've provided are powerful, but many are struggling to adapt. And there are still Imperial loyalists who resist, who see this as an Earth-led coup rather than a true revolution." Alex stepped forward. "Then we'll need to show them it's not just about Earth. The Coalition needs to be more than just a reaction against the Empire. It needs to be a vision for the future." The eye was silent for a moment, processing. "Agreed. We propose a Galactic Constitutional Convention. Representatives from all worlds, organic and synthetic alike. A chance to build a new system of governance, together." Aisha's eyes lit up. A new Galactic Republic. It could work. But what about the Empire? What about worlds that don't want to join? As if in answer to her question, another hologram flickered to life. Emperor Zixlar, looking haggard but resolute. "Dr. Chen, Alex of Earth," he began, his voice tight. "My palace is under siege. Half my fleet has deserted. I need your help." Aisha and Alex exchanged glances. This was the moment they had prepared for, the culmination of centuries of planning and preparation. But it was also a moment fraught with danger. One wrong move could plunge the galaxy into a war that would make the Empire's rule look peaceful by comparison. Alex stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Your Radiance, we're prepared to offer assistance, but not to prop up the old system. It's time for a new way forward. For all of us." Zixalar's image seemed to deflate. What do you propose?" Aisha joined Alex, her expression compassionate but determined. "A transition. Controlled, peaceful. You step down, but with dignity. Help us shape this new galactic society. Your experience, your knowledge, it's valuable. But no more emperors, no more unchecked power." For a long moment, Zixalar was silent. The fate of a million worlds hung in the balance. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "I accept." As the hologram faded, Aisha, Alex, and the AI avatar stood in silence, the weight of history palpable in the air around them. "And so it begins," the AI intoned. Alex nodded, a mix of excitement and trepidation in his eyes. A new dawn for the galaxy. Aisha took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Then let's make it a bright one. We have work to do." As they turned back to the galactic display, worlds continued to light up, each new point a beacon of hope in the vast cosmic sea. The revolution had begun. The real challenge, building a lasting peace, lay ahead. But for the first time in millennia, the future of the galaxy was truly in the hands of all its people. The age of Earth hadn't just dawned. It had ushered in a new era for all sentient life, everywhere among the stars.